Ooh. Ooh, child. It is super, super hot here in Atlanta, Georgia. I wanted to do a quick live update from the garden. I am probably going to just be taking my laptop and walking around the front yard to show you guys a little bit of what I have going on. As you know, I try to just, keep you guys informed as to what's going on with me and the garden, and, be available to answer any questions or just share knowledge as it comes up for me. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is one of the easiest plants to grow in your garden. It's literally like put it in the ground and walk away and come back 4 or 5 months later and pull it up and you're good to go. However, I did have a little bit of an issue. So I'm going to be first talking about my garlic, which you guys will see in the thumbnail. This is garlic. I actually just bought this garlic from the grocery store, and I like the garlic because it has, I don't know if this is going to come up on camera, but it has these sort of like red veins going through it. And I thought that it was a little different than just the plain white garlic. Maybe you can see it a little bit better on these bulbs, but it sort of has this red redness to the skin. It almost looks like a shallot, that sort of pink red color. And so I bought that just at the grocery store, regular garlic from the grocery store. And for the last couple years, I've been planting garlic in my yard, and I love planting garlic because literally you can take the cloves, you can break apart a bulb of garlic into the cloves. You take those cloves, you put them down into some soft soil, and you can let them go, and they're going to grow for you. Here in Georgia, they grow over the winter. You might want to check what's the best way to grow garlic in your area. But for me, I plant my garlic usually October, November, right about the time that my sweet potatoes are coming out. I'm putting my garlic in. And if you follow me on Instagram or we're friends on Facebook, then you would have seen the pictures of when I put my garlic bulbs in the ground. And I normally plant my garlic in between other plants. So I'll plant it in between my berry bushes. I'll plant it where my pomegranates are in the back. Anywhere where you can plant it where it's not going to disturb anything. I wouldn't plant it in like an herb bed or something that's going to be very shallow roots, shallowly rooted plant. So I wouldn't plant it with my oregano or my thyme or anything like that, or my rosemary. But I would plant it with things that have deeper roots, because you can plant your garlic bulbs literally just a few inches under the soil, and they will take off. So plant the one garlic bulb, and for me, like I said, I plant over the winter, and this is what comes up in the spring. And so I went and pulled all of my garlic. Was it last week or earlier this week? I went and pulled it all. You really want to pull your garlic when the leaves start to brown, and when you have some of your garlic that'll start to bend over and fall over. That's the time that you want to pull it. Also, when your garlic begins to do this, so this is what's called a garlic scape, and it is the flower of the garlic. You can eat this. It tastes just like garlic as well. But when your garlic does this is when you want to start to think about pulling your garlic. Now, the learning part of this. So first we teach, and then we teach what we learned. So this is what happens when you leave your garlic in the ground too long. So garlic is a bulb. It is in the family of onions, tulips, other types of like lily plants. Like if you've ever had an Easter lily, you know that they spread under the ground by division of the bulbs. And so each of those, so you have one clove that you plant, that clove becomes a bulb like this, but in that bulb, there are all of the cloves. And so if you leave your garlic in the ground long enough, that outer paper, these cloves will swell and they'll break through that outer paper, and they will then split off into their own, what would then be their own plants. So this I can't use. You can use this. Let me not say that. You can use this if you're going to plant it immediately. Or I'm not sorry, plant it if you're going to eat it immediately. So I could take these cloves in the house, let them, sort of dry for a couple of weeks, and I could use these over the summer. But these are not going to store well. So you're not going to be able to kind of put these away and keep them for winter eating, fall eating, or anything like that. This would be garlic you would eat in the summer. What I'm actually going to do with these is I am going to store them, and these will be the cloves that I plant this fall when I get ready. I had a couple of bulbs that did this. This one, you can see how all of the different cloves have split, and you just can't do anything with this. So even this one here, one of the cloves has already split into two cloves. So this one is ready to now turn into its own bulb by itself. So we will dry these out. I'm going to let these sit in the window, pretty much this summer. I'm going to eat some of them, of course. And then these will be the ones that I plant in the fall. But again, you can see here, hopefully it's coming up on the camera, how this really pretty purple color, anybody who knows me knows that purple is my favorite color. So to have purple garlic is awesome for me. That is what this type of garlic looks like and how it grows. So you want to pull your garlic when it looks like this, not when it looks like this. And it's always good to test a couple of bulbs. I usually grow anywhere from 15 to 25 cloves in the fall. Because I like garlic and I eat garlic regularly, but I don't eat a whole lot of it because I don't cook for more than one person normally. That will probably be changing, and so I will probably grow more garlic this fall. But for right now, this is really enough garlic for me. I actually have a whole thing. I don't even know how to say it. It's like the top of a refrigerator that I had in my house, and the entire top of it is covered. This is just a sampling of what came out of my garden a few days ago. So, and I got people driving by listening to Mary J. Blige. So in addition, I also have my berry plants, and I can't stress to you guys enough, plant things. If you don't have a green thumb, start with things that are easy. Start with things that you can put in the ground and just let them do their own thing. So this is just what I harvested today from my strawberries, blueberries, and the last of the raspberries. My raspberries that I put in last year, because it's the first year crop, I didn't really anticipate much production out of them, but I have been getting a few raspberries every single day, or at least every couple of days. And then my strawberries, some of them I planted last year, and those are in self-watering sort of like the long window box planters in the backyard. And then I also have my hanging baskets up here on the porch. And I've been getting now some strawberries because it's the mid-May going into where the June bearing strawberries are going to be coming into their season, starting to get more strawberries regularly. And they are not, they're not huge, they're not big like strawberries you would get from the grocery store. Like you can see that it's like not even as big as, the end of my thumb. And then here's a larger one, but here's a larger one, and that is a little bit bigger. They are super sweet. And also, you know that there's nothing in them or on them. So I don't spray any pesticides. I'm not spraying any chemicals on my yard. I'm fertilizing with compost from my backyard, and also some Miracle Grow fertilizer. So I don't have any extra stuff. I don't have anything weird on my plants. And so, yeah, great strawberries. Like, oh my gosh, that is worth it to only have a couple of them. Even if I only had a bowl like this of strawberries, once a week, that taste is worth it. When you get strawberries from the grocery store, they're so hit or miss, and mostly misses. To me, they just taste watery. They don't have a real sweetness to them. I would much rather go and find somebody who has a strawberry patch. Here in Georgia, you can find them if you go down 75 South. I've seen them when I was driving to um, Savannah one time, where you could just stop off on the side of the road and get fresh strawberries. But why not grow them yourself? It's a great treat to have. I think I'm going to save the rest of these though for oatmeal in the morning. I'm going to do some berries in my oatmeal because I'm going on a diet. And yeah, so plant things that are going back to my point. I'm sorry, I digress. Plant things that are going to be easy for you. I think that berry bushes, raspberries, blackberries are super easy. They really kind of grow in almost any kind of soil. But if you can give them what they need, they are going to just take off for you and do really, really well. I'm still waiting for my blackberries to come into season. Some of them have started to go from green to red, and then they'll go from red to black. And so I think I'll go to the back in just a minute and look at those. My tomatoes, the gentleman who cuts my grass asked me yesterday when he finished cutting the grass, he said, "What are you putting on your tomatoes that they are growing so fast?" And I said to him, I planted them early. I planted my tomatoes and my eggplants and these peppers actually in, was it late March, early April, I want to say. I think it was like late March. I think it was like March 20th or something like that. And they were off to a slow start. But the good thing is that as soon as they're able to get in there and really take off, they are already ahead of any plant that I would have planted now that still has to establish a root system. In addition, they're acclimated. They're acclimated to the soil. They're acclimated to, the amount of daylight, the angle of the sun, all of those things that play a factor in your plants really producing for you and producing early for you. They have a head start. So if you can, depending on where you are in the country, plant your tomatoes as early as possible. Like if your last frost date is, March 15th, March 20th, like it is down here in Georgia, get your tomatoes in the ground early because you're going to give them a head start over anybody who plants later. So now we're going to take a walk. So these are my hanging baskets with my strawberries. And you can possibly see one here. This one right there is, it'll be probably ready tomorrow. I'm certainly looking forward to that. We're going to go look at the front yard first. This is, I don't know, I can't see if you guys can see that. Okay, yeah, it looks like you can see it. So this tomato plant, I am 5'11" and a half. This tomato plant is almost as tall as I am because it's got a, it's obviously in a raised bed, so it's 4 or 5 inches off the ground. But like, that's crazy to have a tomato this tall and gorgeous, and it's only the end of May. Those, I hope you guys can see that right there in that corner. Hopefully I don't drop my computer. That right there, I don't know what those are. So if you compost, you will probably have seeds from cantaloupes, watermelons, things like that, that will sprout in your compost pile. I found those in the compost pile and I just decided, hey, let's plant them and see what they are. So that's going to be a little experiment that we'll be able to keep track of over the next couple of months over the growing season. You guys can see the peppers. I want to like really get down here. I got a bunch of different varieties of peppers. This is a green pepper, I think. Nope, this is a red pepper. And these are ones I just bought from big box store. I didn't go all out and like grow from seed or, you know, do any of that kind of stuff this year. I just like really wanted to get some stuff in the ground. And then these are the planter boxes that I put in the front. And there's 4 of them. You can't see the one that's right here to my left. But there's 4 of them, and I have blueberries and scuppernong, which is a type of muscadine, my clematis, my goji berry, which is getting acclimated. I'm really hoping for some really good things out of that within the next year or two. Also, the experiments that I did with the mulberry whips that I pulled off, that is over here, and I'm hoping that that's going to take off as well. On this side, I have more tomatoes back here, and you probably can see those little tomatoes back there. So those will be ready. They'll probably be ready if I wanted to do fried green tomatoes, and probably in about 4 days. But they should be red by the end of next week and ready to go for slicing and eating. I've got some carrots in here, although I think I planted my carrots too late, and I think that they are going to bolt on me before I am able to get any crop of carrots out of these. And that's okay, because this was an experiment. I just had some carrot seeds that have been sitting, and I needed to go ahead and plant them. So let's go ahead and walk to the back. Grab my keys. Now be warned, my house is dark, and that is with purpose. It is super hot here, and you have to keep your house dark on the inside or else your house will be hot. So let's go to the back. It looks like night vision. Oh goodness. And here we are. Oh, it's a cat in my backyard. Get out of here, cat. The cats chase the birds that eat the insects and chase the little, if you follow me on Instagram, you saw my little green lizard that lives in my yard. I don't know if they're the same lizard. There's one that's green and one that's brown. And